We live in the most informed age in human history. More data, more access, more experts, and more tools to check what's true than any other generation before us. So here's the paradox. If we have more information than ever, then why are we more confused? Why are societies more divided? Why does misinformation spread faster than facts? And why do people reject evidence even when it's easy to verify? This isn't happening because knowledge disappeared, and it's not because people suddenly became irrational. In fact, something stranger is happening. Truth is everywhere, but it's still losing. That's because human beings were never guided by facts alone. Long before we learned to measure reality, we learned to protect what mattered. Things like belonging, loyalty, safety, identity, and meaning. Your brain evolved to prioritize those first. So when information collides with what we value most, truth doesn't always win. And when truth loses, freedom loses too. To understand why truth fails, and why freedom always disappears without it, we have to look deeper than facts. We have to ask a harder question. What matters most? Truth tells you what's real, but doesn't tell you what to care about. That job belongs to values. A value is something you treat as important. So important, it shapes your decisions, even when no one's watching. Values decide what feels right, what feels threatening, and what feels worth defending. And values came long before politics. Long before the first laws were created, human beings had to cooperate to survive. If someone hoarded food, or if one person failed, trust collapsed. So we evolved deep social drives that pushed us towards caring, sharing, and fairness, because our survival demanded it. That's how morality began. Not as rules handed down from above, but as social drives that emerged from within. Even today, you can see this wiring at work. Across cultures, humans will punish unfairness even when it costs them personally. People routinely reject unequal outcomes they could benefit from, just to enforce fairness. That behavior looks irrational on paper, but in real life, it protects cooperation. Groups that tolerate cheating don't last. And this ancient social drive shows up early. Even young children react strongly to unfairness, long before they can explain why. They don't need a rule book to know when something isn't right. Over time, societies turned shared values into shared rules, and those shared rules eventually became laws, a reflection of what a community cares about most. Some of those shared rules include: don't murder, don't steal, don't abuse power, and don't silence others. At their best, laws protect the vulnerable and make cooperation possible at scale. But laws aren't perfect. They can be shaped by fear. They can be bent by power. They can reflect cruelty instead of compassion, which is why it's never enough to just simply obey the law. In a free society, citizens have to ask a deeper question. Does this law reflect the values we believe in? Because once values move from small groups into massive systems, they don't just guide behavior, they begin to shape the world. And here's where things can get dangerous. That's because values don't just guide individuals, they can be activated, amplified, and exploited at scale. And this doesn't require bad intentions. It's what happens when ancient human instincts collide with modern systems built to amplify attention. In that environment, manipulation doesn't always look like a lie. Sometimes it looks like a virtue. Security, loyalty, order, and belonging used to shut down questions and override facts. Modern communication systems don't reward what's most accurate. They reward what spreads fastest. And what spreads fastest is what directly targets human values. Things like outrage, identity, fear of loss, and fear of exclusion. When information threatens something we deeply value, brain scans show emotional alarm systems lighting up, and the parts of the brain used for careful reasoning go quiet. In other words, the more we feel our values are threatened, the harder it becomes to accept the facts. This isn't a conscious choice. It's your survival brain stepping in. fast, automatic, and protective, before reasoning even gets a vote. Here's the surprising part. When facts threaten what we care about most, the brain doesn't respond like it's in a debate. It responds like it's facing danger. It's the brain trying to protect you from information that feels emotionally threatening. So information that glorifies your group or demonizes an outsider gets amplified, while information that criticizes your group or humanizes an outsider gets rejected. Over time, something subtle happens. People stop asking, "Is this true?" and start asking, "Does this support my beliefs?" instead. That's when values stop protecting truth and start overriding it. Truth doesn't disappear, it just stops guiding decisions. Instead, people share what supports their group and undermine their group's rivals, while leaders constantly repeat what fires up their base and turns the other side into a threat. At no point does anyone say, "Let's destroy truth," yet truth still loses its role as a guide. And what we learned in the last episode, when truth disappears, freedom soon collapses too. But here's the part that matters most. Values aren't fixed, they're chosen, not once, but over and over again. Every society has to decide which values it will protect and which ones it will sacrifice when things get uncomfortable. Some cultures prize obedience, others prize dissent. Some teach silence, others teach protest. Some protect power, others protect freedom. So if you're not sure where to begin, you can start here. What kind of world do you want to live in? A society where people speak freely, or one where only the powerful decide what's allowed? Laws that protect the vulnerable, or laws that protect the very rich? A culture grounded in compassion, or one driven by fear? Those questions are where your values begin. And here's the deeper truth. Humans have always filtered information through their values. That part isn't new. What's new is our modern, interconnected world. Never before have billions of people been flooded with so many competing narratives, moving faster than they can even be corrected, personalized for emotional impact, and amplified when they divide us. Our ancient value systems evolved to guide small communities, not to withstand constant psychological pressures at a planetary scale. But here's the good news. Even in this environment, values are still ours to choose. While truth shows us what's real, our values decide how we respond to that truth, and whether we accept or reject reality. That's why the fight over what's true or false is never just about the facts. It's about what we protect, what we excuse, and what we're willing to stand up for when it costs something for us to do so. So now the question is yours. What matters to you most? In the end, it's up to you to choose. Do you and your brain want to learn more? Then sign up for Truth Hackers and watch another video.